I'm sure most people don't want to watch like a morning like YouTube sailing channel because it's not, you know, the average. I'm just pulling into Cannes port. I've not been in a port for 15 days, but I've tried this morning to get the engine to stop doing this, and just as I've got to the entrance of the port, it started like fully doing it to the point that it's probably going to cut out as I'm trying to get into the berth. Just going to put it into neutral outside the port for a minute. It's a big port as well, so it's not like it's a big port as well, so it's not like I'm right at the entrance, and I've got to go into the port. I maybe could have gone in the morning if I went early enough, but I would have been pushing it because the wind's due, and I mean the serious wind is due to come in at about 7 o'clock in the morning. And as well, I've woke up on the boat this morning. It's a mess. It was 2 uncomfortable nights. A night and a day of trying to sail and it not really going the way I needed it to go. Feel a little bit like broken in, to be honest, and a friend actually has lent me the money to get into this port, so, but even with that, I appreciate it, obviously, but you know, it's not nice to think that I just feel like I'm living like really, really close to the edge, and you might think that sounds really dramatic, but it is a bit like, and if you've watched loads of sailing channels, I ain't doing anything special. I'm just messing around really on the grand scheme of things. I ain't doing any big long sails, but when things are broken, the short ones are hard to do. And you know, staying out at anchor for most of February was just a necessity rather than something I really wanted to be doing, because really the boat's nowhere near ready. And you know, even the aesthetic things on the boat, they then start to like really bother me, because you know, and it's a bit of a mess inside and it's just not prepared, and I don't know. And then I'm bobbing around now just outside the old port in Cannes. I need to get in, but I don't want the boat to stop while I'm in there. I'd rather it stop here, and at least then I'm not hitting someone's boat. I feel like sometimes when I've put that into neutral, it will then go into forwards for a bit. The problem is when I need to reverse into the berth, going forwards, is it going to cut back out? But yeah, when I need to go into the berth, I need to put it into reverse, and while I do that whole manoeuvre of putting it into reverse, I need to rev quite a bit for the boat to actually go into reverse, because otherwise it just messes around. I'm going to have to do a lot of cutting here because I'm just not actually saying anything. I've got my little map, which is the first because I went in by foot, dinghy/foot first. It's cutting out a bit again. Right, we're going to jump inside and take the steps off, so that if I quickly need to access the engine, where I installed, when I got it to work the first time, a fuel pump, a manual one. So if I quickly get this door off, that way if it cuts out in the middle of the port, I can quickly get in here and not have to do all of this messing around to get inside there. This is what I'm dealing with, just a mess all the time. We'll just check where I am, and I'm not going to hit anything while I quickly pump this a few times. Right, let's try this. Having my slippiest trainers on probably weren't the way. Having my slippiest trainers on probably isn't the best idea right now. Right, let's give this a go. I hope someone watches this, because sometimes when I'm doing all this stuff, I'm wondering what on earth is the point. I pick up the GoPro and think it's better to share it with someone than no one, because some days other than talking to myself, well, most days, other than talking to myself, I just do a lot of this just on my own. Right, anyway, we'll stop that because, yeah, it's not. Let's try to be more positive. Can. I was about to say can, and look how cloudy it is. Right, so there's that one. I don't really have a GoPro mount set up to put this while I do something, so I'm just going to balance it there on the brush. Right, just coming in past here, and then the fuel dock should just be over there. Yeah, hopefully a ferry don't come and stop me in the middle of this. And then number one, when we've gone past that, there should then be pontoons just on the side. Ideally you'd see that and not me, I just don't know where I can stick the GoPro. There maybe. Kinda works. Right, so that green buoy, it's not a buoy is it, it's whatever it's called, we need to go around that. I guess we have to go around it this side, I don't really know why, but and then when we've gone around that, there should then be a number of pontoons on my left, 1, 2, 3, and as we get to the third we want to turn, but we want to reverse into there, so there should be enough room after the green buoy. Right, F, so the pontoon I need, which is F, should be the furthest one sticking out, which should make it a little bit easier. And then we're going to F62. Just turn my wine box into a GoPro mount. Right, we come along, so there's that jetty there. That's the one with the big boats on. So there might not actually be as much room to turn around as I thought, because I didn't imagine them big boats were there. Do we just go in forwards? It's short term easier, long term more of a nightmare, but with the engine playing up, might be the way forward. So I'm glad they've given me this map, because otherwise this would get very tricky. So HG and we're going into F. So I can see H, G, that one must be F. And we should have enough room there just to spin it around. In fact, we've actually got quite a lot of room. So get you stuck in there, spin you around there looking at that absolutely huge boat next to another huge boat. So H, H, G, and then F. Wonder how people come in here unlike me when it's the film festival, all the rich people. Not like this. Anyway, H, G, F. Just triple checking that because I don't want to mess up. The trick is giving myself enough room to get into reverse. So if I get a line there, knock it into neutral. Some people will be watching this thinking you shouldn't be allowed anywhere near all them big boats, but it's not my first time getting into a port. I was about to say something, but I'm not going to say it until I've got in. And let it turn itself. The idea of reversing used to just scare the life out of me, but I've actually since realised it's probably easier to reverse in than it was to go in forwards. If you give yourself enough time, you don't have to rapidly like accelerate so hard on the reverse. Reversing this boat is a lot harder than some boats of a similar size, just because how wide it is at the back. The turning on it is like insane. So give it a little rev just to try kick it in, because we don't want the engine to start stalling again. Once we start moving, which we are doing now, just going to keep in line. We have pitch, and they're actually numbered, lettered. So I've been to ports before where it doesn't even tell you, and you're just looking around and they've told you on the phone you're going to J26, and you get into the port and you're like, where on earth is J26? Should have maybe reversed a bit further that way. It'll be a while now getting back here. Let's see if it goes back. Then I better not do that, I die, it's risky. We want to make sure I'm over the far side to give myself enough room to get in and around. Because until I get in that part, I can't see how much room I've got to swing it around. And you don't want to get stuck down one of them. Although the other thing about going in and reverse is I've had it before where I've gone in forwards and I've got stuck. I've gone past the part I was meant to go, and then to reverse back out was unbelievably hard. Ever since then, which might be on a previous video, I can't remember, but I can't remember if I had any footage of it, but ever since then I've gone in backwards. It's a bit annoying with a dinghy to go in backwards, but it's easier to get on and off the boat if you're going backwards, it's easier to get out if you've gone in backwards. All around, backwards is just the way forward. Or backwards. The way backwards. This is why it's taken me so long to ever try and make YouTube, because I can say stupid things like that. And I don't talk loud enough, which I've just realised I'm not doing. Right, so F. Ideally the map would tell you how many places there is from the start, so you know roughly when to turn. And I can see coming up to it, it's fairly tight. And by fairly tight, I mean very tight. For a big port, that's a small... That's a nervously small gap. Or channel, whatever you want to call it. So I can see the spot I'm meant to go in. And as I've just said, the gap's quite small. We want to make sure when we go in, we're as far over to the boat on the opposite side to give us enough room to swing over, but not too close that when it swings over, you're going to catch any of the boats on the other side. The thing we're going backwards just steers a lot heavier than it's like steering a truck or a bus going backwards and a car going forward. Brace yourselves. On this GoPro at the minute, but I guess I'm going to film this at some point. So that's the gap we're going into. So once you get to about here, you want to start turning. Once you know you feel that boat next to you, and then you need to do it quite quick, because otherwise you're going to hit that boat there. Then you want to be prepared in case you start going way too close towards that boat there, which we appear to be doing now. Might just about swing around. I think we might have just about done it. But it's going to be close. And then you want to get yourself a went really well until the very last part, and then it still didn't go that badly. Because we had hit the top. The lazy line's not going to be fun to get out of here. So then we're in and we just need to tie on. So what you want to do is, I don't know why I'm giving advice because I often don't get this right. Is the lazy line, and we lost, oh man, we lost the boat hook. So what that now is going to mean is we have to pull this horrible infested rope, because normally you've got the hook and you can pull it up with a hook, but not having the hook now, we've got to do it this way, which is not going to be fun. Anyway, I don't know how I'm going to film that, so I'll have to not. Right, we're in, power on. We're definitely not tight enough. The issue is getting that lazy line. What is it called? A lazy line? I forgot now. That thing, getting that tied up turns into an absolute nightmare, because you know you've got to pull quite tight on that rope, but the rope's been laid in the bottom of the sea for God knows how long, so it's, there should just be better ways. It's just, you know, marinas, pontoons, docks, ports, whatever you want to call them in France, they're not cheap, so, but they'll just crowd as many possible boats in. Whoa, that's the first time I've seen the same boat as mine in a port. I feel like it looks the same but not as chaotic and higher somehow. I mean, it's not, it's probably because I stand on the platform at the back, but why does that one look nicer? You know, mine's been painted and all sorts, but something about that one just looks more intact. I haven't seen a boat the same though the whole time, and I used to look like quite a lot. Don't know if it's just like the deck and everything, there's just less stuff hanging out of it. It just looks more together, but bare, I guess. I mean, I can look at it all day trying to work out what the difference is, but who knows? Who knows? Anyway, after that distraction, what was I saying? Yeah, they cram all these boats in for such a high price, and then as you get into the port, you know, you're spending the first 10 minutes getting hold of this horrible encrusted nasty rope, which sometimes as well, especially in the winter, when was the last time someone even moored there? So it's probably, that rope's been sat under the water for probably 5 months or 4 months maybe, but still like too many months. Anyway, I've heard great things about this can shower block. So the price per night here is €13, considering I was paying that at Port Santa Lucia, which is definitely not a nice port. It's not a bad price because it's, you know, you've got Port Santa Lucia. So far, you know, rental bikes, it's quite a handy thing to have. Shower blocks just in there, and I've heard like good things about the facilities here. Lots of like wooden boats to be envious of, but you know, one day. That's a nice one, isn't it? Is that Charison? Throwing boat names out there like I know what I'm on about. I'm gonna guess at Charison, but the chances are I'm not right. When I actually bought my boat, I nearly got a free boat very similar to that. It was in St Maxime Port, and there was one person who just got there before me, otherwise I could have had it. It was a fairly big project, but it looked worthwhile. Right, let's go into the cage. We're in. This is, you know, so far this is a little bit frustrating to think that I might have spent all them months in oh, you know, it's good. There's everything you want a port to have so far. A coffee machine, sweets. As a coffee machine reason, 150, you know, 150 to come get a coffee in the morning. It's not bad. Like I'd probably lose the Tassimo for that if I knew that I could come in and get one for 150. Little book library just here. We'll have a look through that later, because all them nights not being able to, mind you, I need lights to be able to read. Don't look like there's any boat books. Maybe someone told me the other day I need to have something that doesn't involve boats to occupy myself for when the boat starts to annoy me. Maybe it's a good point. Not bad. Not bad considering when we've just been some of the ports and I've had, you know, when I've not been able to make coffee while I'm at sea. Sometimes I forget I'm English. A coffee while I've been anchored at sea. Not really been at sea, have I? A coffee whilst, how do we get out? Press this button. There we go. Yeah, a coffee while anchored, and I've gone over to land, and you expect like to be able to find just a little cafe au lait, coffee with milk, and that sets you back like, it's like you expect it to be about 150, and there's been times I've done it and it's been, the last one $3.75, and it was literally just a coffee with a splash of milk, and this is probably better. People don't care about this coffee, I know, but, and I didn't really need to get it. I don't have any pods left on the boat actually. The thing is, going forwards, being moored up is going to be less often than being at anchor, and you know, that Tassimo fell off the other day. It's probably broken anyway, but to carry that around just for the easiness of being able to use the electric, if you got into a port, you know, things like a coffee machine might not seem like a big thing. Another thing that they don't have in enough ports is an ice machine, like just an affordable ice machine, because you know, not many boats have freezers on, or small boats anyway, and a lot of them have cool boxes, which, you know, you want to put ice in, but you get to ports and there's just very rarely an ice machine. You know, all it needs to be even €2 and you can go top up a bucket of ice to put back in the fridge, but quite a lot of the time it's just not a thing. So anyway, can't find where the hose attaches. My boat actually looks just a mess as well. Right, 3 nights, and you can't really include today because it's the end of the day. So I'll probably spend tonight just re-editing some YouTube things, because I've got like loads, but I find it really hard to do while I'm at anchor, because I have to keep the battery charged, and then for every full battery it might take me 2 hours of the engine running, if not longer, to charge my laptop, and then for editing it'll last like 40 minutes, if that. And then if I've got the engine running while I'm trying to edit, then I can't hear what I'm editing. But yeah, we really do just need to have a good tidy up. I feel like we left the last time, although we'd got some stuff we thought prepared. We have the electric, we have got a bit better with that, so we didn't run out of foam power and all of that sort of stuff. But it was only since we left that little dock, which we was like getting a bit of electric from, but it still felt like being at anchor. But we did get a bit of electric from it, but we left there in a bit of a rush. The boat's just a bit of a mess, and we need to fix that leak on the engine, because that's the real thing that's very bugging when the floor just starts to get wet. I think I found where the leak's coming from, and I tried to like retighten the 2 Jubilee clips. I don't know what they're actually called, but that's not really stopped it. So I think what I'm going to do is some of that like white tape stuff you put on pipes, I'm going to put that around the bottom of the water pump part, then connect and then tighten, and see if that stops the leak. But first I need to get all the water out, which is going to be not fun, but give it a go. When I do have a bit of influx of money, I'm going to try sort that water tank situation I already started, because it's just not fun carrying all them water bottles around. Just walked past that boat again, the one that's the same as mine, that other a lower 29, and I see photos of it sometimes on Instagram of like 2 people I follow. So when I see another one, I look at it and think that's a really nice boat. It's only when I look at mine, I'm like, don't know if that's just because of the troubles it gives me. Sparkling water in a pot. Now I found the tap. It's cold. I'm not going to believe it until I taste it, but here goes. It's legit. I picked the wrong port to be in for the majority of winter. Like, wow. Okay, so apologies for another voiceover here. I was going to put a little video at the ending, however my GoPro is full and the laptop's full, so unless I get this video off and exported, I can't import the footage from the GoPro, so I can't record one basically. But thanks for watching. That was me coming into Canport, and I will make sure on the other videos I save enough memory on the GoPro to record like the intros and the outros properly. But yeah, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.